All right, so today I want to show you how I organize and store all of my ideas so you never run out of content to create. And it's the exact same system that we give to all of our real estate clients so they easily come up with content to create as well. So I think one of the biggest challenges that real estate agents face when trying to market themselves, specifically on social media or maybe just online in general, it's the idea of creating the content itself. Look, we know that we should be creating and posting every single day because through this process, we stay top of mind with our leads and prospects and clients, but it's definitely a struggle when you essentially click that new post button and you're just staring aimlessly at this blinking cursor because you really don't know what to say. Now, this is actually a problem that I used to have, but I've actually been able to successfully overcome this. And I want to spend today's video really showing you my process, which is the exact same process that we teach and implement this, well, specifically this system to all of our real estate clients. Okay, so first I want to start off today's conversation by really explaining that yes, content creation is hard. It is not easy at all. There is no way around this because you're essentially creating something from scratch. I always like to use the analogy of the same type of anxiety that an artist feels when they're about to create something from a blank canvas and they don't know what to create with that paintbrush on that blank canvas. It's actually the exact same feeling that we get when we're just staring at like a blank Word doc. Now here's the kicker. If we start shifting our mind from being content creators, but instead start becoming content historians, well, we're no longer creating stuff. We're just talking about stuff that we just learned. Now, this is a super powerful mindset shift, but once you start thinking this way, it actually becomes a million times easier to create content. So here's my process. It's super simple, it's easy to adopt, and you can easily implement this like now, like right after this video. By the way, before I get started, I need to give a quick attribution shout out to Ryan Holiday. I actually got inspiration for this system from him. So this whole system that I'm referring to, it's really just 3 steps. Now, step 1 is actually consuming the content itself. It's like watching a video or maybe reading a book or talking to someone or just doing some stuff. Then step 2 is to extract the thing that I learned from that activity. Now, for example, like when I read a book, I like to keep a highlighter by me. And whenever I see something helpful or useful, then I'll go in and I'll just highlight those few sentences or that phrase or that little passage. And then step 3 is right after I've consumed this awesome piece of information, like for example, I finished reading this book, then I'll go into a notepad and actually write this idea down. I should say that I don't really write ideas down anymore. I actually use an application called Notion, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. But the idea here is it's actually a strategy that has been around for decades. And the strategy that I'm referring to, it's actually called a commonplace book. It's a system that writers have used for a very long time when it comes to them actually writing and creating books. Essentially, we're taking the exact same system that they've used and we're now repositioning it to our benefit as being content creators. So here is mine as a quick example. Now, one of the books I recently read is this really awesome book called Shape Up. And it really talks about the idea called the 6-week cycle. And then what I'll do is I'll have my little highlighter and then I'll go in and highlight passages. Like for example, this passage here, I'm not gonna bore you with what it says, but I highlighted some words or a couple sentences. But right after I finished reading the book, and I'm actually gonna hop into my screen real quick and you can take a look at my Notion board. But right after I finish reading the book, I'll then go in and create my commonplace book, which is really no more than a little spreadsheet of all of the highlights that I got from the book. So that passage I showed you, which was on page 110, is actually this phrase or this highlighted little snippet of words here. Beautiful alignment, colors, and typography don't matter at the first pass. Visual styling, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. But the idea here is that after I read the book, I'll go in and I'll actually type out what I highlighted. And then after typing it out, I'll theme out the idea. So in this particular case, this particular idea here, it has to do with user experience, user interface design, project management, leadership, and development. I'll obviously cite the book and then I'll reference the exact page that I got this really awesome information from. An example here, let me just scroll down real quick. There's another example of like a video where instead of like putting the book, I'll actually, where is it? Here, I'll put in the video and actually just put the timestamp of when that awesome little phrase was mentioned in the video. But the idea behind this is actually pretty simple. I now have this really awesome resource where I've categorized all of these thoughts that I've learned over time, so that I can now go back and reference it when I need that information at any given moment. All right, so really now the question to be asked is like, how can you use this in context? How can you use what I just showed you to help market yourself with your real estate business? And really the answer is quite simple. Think about a problem that a client of yours has faced, or maybe an objection that you've gotten from a lead or prospect. And take that piece of information and phrase it into a question. And once you've been able to identify that question, then creating a piece of content from it is no more than going back to your commonplace book and then doing a little research on a specific theme, and then writing a post or sharing a video talking about that little snippet of information or that piece of knowledge that you found. So for example, let's say that I often get this question about, how often or how much do I need to research before I actually act on something? And if that's the case, then that immediately, in my mind, in the way I have my thoughts organized, that immediately brings me to a question on leadership. So what I'll do is hop into my commonplace book. I'll do a quick search for leadership. And then I'll look for maybe a quote or a passage that actually resonated with me to help answer, this thought or provide some value. So I'm just scrolling. Here's a good one. The amount of time we set for our appetite is going to lead us to different solutions. And the takeaway of that is, if we don't set a time duration for how long we research, we will research aimlessly. That's my big takeaway from that. There you have it. That's it. That's the simple solution to being able to create more content and organize your thoughts. Anyways, if you want to jam on a little bit more about this, we talk about this in depth inside of our free Facebook group, specifically for realtors. Drop in the link in the description below. And if you really enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend you check out this video here. Have a good one.